before was just Judy's.
Oh, the draft, yes, I've got it underlined and highlighted and I walked by. The draft master parks and greenways plan.
There's nothing really any different. It's sitting up there. It's been, council's had it, seen it. It's been to several public functions and open houses, and it's just a matter of working on it to make it part of the OCP.
The proposal is to bring that to council for some informal adoption at some point.
Well, not informal, first reading.
So it'll be
It's
adopted by it.
How many hours do you think it is away from being ready for first
I
reading?
can't say that. Please don't ask.
No, I was just curious.
What? You got signs? That would be easier. I'd rather go up with the signs in. I can't.
But it needs a lot of writing to accompany it.
Yeah, it needs, and it's a bylaw. It's a bylaw that amends the OCP, and then it gets attached. The map will form a schedule and get attached to the OCP. No, it's.
So if we don't have it, by the time all of these trilogy does their readings and if council passes them, then they don't have to give us park plan, correct? Then they can choose to give us cash.
No, I've said that, Kate, at the last council meeting. I said, I've been treating this.
But it's not legally, it doesn't exist.
No, it isn't,
so
but none of them have questioned it.
But at this point in time, I'm saying when it comes to the bucks on the table, sometimes people change their mind.
So far,
what's
we've
legally.
been absolutely bargaining in good faith, and I've been saying, I've got that orange dot there, I want that part.
Except when we're at their meetings, and a lot of you guys aren't, is what they're saying is, oh no, that green space isn't necessarily going to be that big. It's not set in stone on their quote conceptual plan.
So. It's true, and you pointed that out to me, that it hasn't got a legal form to it yet, but I've been bargaining with that as if it is, and I know that's why there's pressure to get it first, second, and third, get it finished, so that it has legally time.
Yeah, I'm just saying that if we don't have it done by the time that they're...
I know you're encouraging me.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Just
I'm trying to scare you that if it's not, then we'll just get screwed like we did on the other ones.
No,
Okay.
Just one more thing on that is up in Egremont area, it looks like there's going to be a lot of dense development. You know, I don't know what is passing or not passing, but we need places for kids to play in those new areas. And you know, I know they want a swamp dedication as the park. That's fine. They need pocket parks for kids, parents to take their kids to that they can play in their own neighborhood. And I just have to really object to the urbanization that is planned for our area without thought to the human beings that are going to live there. It isn't just paper, you know, it's got to be, how are people going to use their neighborhood? How do people get along when they're all crammed in together in an area that used to be a small village? And where are the kids going to play? You know, where are they going to ride their bikes safely? And so, you know, parks plan, to me, that's really part of any plan, and it's really important that we respect it, you know, that we make sure that we make it a priority. Not to put any pressure on you, but I feel that, you know.
So that's why we don't have parks, is because they could just pay money because it wasn't in our OCP. They could choose, the developer can choose right now in the village of Cumberland, do I put in a dedicated land for parks or do I give the village cash? And that's why Cove Valley Estates, the first few phases don't have parks. The planner at the time, she didn't make them do laneways because the developer told her it would be too expensive to have laneways, even though then that is what we want to see in our village, was to keep this sort of similar feel to it. And instead we ended up with East Courtney.
Well, we can't depend
It's
on...
nice. I like the feeling that planning actually has that kind of power, but thank you, Kate, but it's not. Council makes the end.
We can't depend
make
on schoolyards, right? We've depended on schoolyards being part of our parks and playgrounds, and now that they're selling off the schools, we can't be sure anymore.
Well, obviously we're on the same page. Councils gave great weight to this parks and greenways plan, so we're working very hard on it. We can be argumentative all you wish, but council has committed to this plan and is working very hard on it as part of the process.
So has the goal changed from having it passed in 2009 to having it passed now in 2008?
The goals have not changed. The goals being to have it done as soon as it possibly can be done.
I thought in your annual report
take from what we're hearing. Okay. That was a good discussion, but this meeting isn't about development. The developers' meetings are formal and held, and we have all the opportunities to deal with those.
I thought this was for informal discussion, so we can also talk to you about what our concerns are.
This is for whatever we want it to be. It
Not
seems
just
this
what
is
you
a town
guys-
hall
your-
meeting.
Your guys' agenda, it's what everybody's agenda
I'm
is.
concerned that the issues that we want to talk about, we're not going to have time because we're going through an agenda that's been chosen for us.
By you guys.
Franco
This is
used
a
to
town hall
talk
meeting.
about what we wanted when we got together at meetings, and whatever came out of it, as long as it wasn't combative, it was fine. I mean, I remember at our OCP meetings and stuff, we just would talk about things, and without having any named developers, sometimes it's better, right?
And if we're talking generalities, I have no difficulty with that.
And that's what it is, it's generalities.
Yeah, that's fine.
I have a question about the agenda. We've done the top 6 bullets on the agenda, and then the next line is further information is available on lists 5 items. Were those items going to be discussed, or were you just making that information available at the village offices?
No, this will be information that's available right now for you, and you can discuss it if you wish, yes.
Okay, I can't stay, but I just wanted to
Oh.
know what was that. Okay, thank you.
It was just to let you know what information is available. And all this means is this is the items that we came prepared and understood, needed, talked about. It's open to whatever, as long as it's general conversation and not specific to something. As you appreciate, there's certain points, depending on where it's at in a development proposal, or where it's at in bylaws, council can't discuss it or receive further information on some items. So we're just being cautious, that's all, not avoiding it. Let's give you the further information, and then we can discuss what you wish. Recycling, we had some more information to put out there.
We're just working on a further flyer, clarifying some of the issues. There were some issues with stickers, for example. New stickers have arrived now, so replacement stickers are available. There's some, generally we're doing very well in sorting out the recycling. There's still a couple of things that are being done wrong. So this is an information flyer that's going to be delivered to the residents just for further information. But generally, Suncoast Waste is very pleased with what they're seeing so far, and so expect that. We're just going to deliver a flyer to the post office and have them deliver it that way. And if you want to come by the office and pick up your replacement stickers, then do that, and we'll give you the flyer at the same time.
So when you do it at the post office, do you remind them to not just do it at the post office, but to do it in the green boxes? Because if you just tell them to do the post office, then the new developments don't get it. Because they're all at green boxes, they don't down to,
Yeah, there's a certain amount that you pay for, and it does go to every resident, so that's the one that we do. So that's in the works, and will be coming out shortly.
I have a question, but I'm sure you can't answer it.
please.
Sorry. But we went from we went from multiple cans, down to 2 cans, down to 1 can. And of course, I know it's a stupid question, you probably don't have the answer, but I wanted to know if our tipping fees changed versus how much we paid last year to go on 1 can. You don't have the information with you.
I believe we had a 6-month, because we started it partway through the year last year, so I remember the last time we got the exact number, it was for just the 6 months of last year, and it was slightly down, but it was too early to tell whether it was having a significant impact or not, because the tipping fees just keep going up. So when we pay a dollar amount and we have more residents as well, then it's hard to tell the overall amount. But I could check with Christine and see whether she has since it's been almost a year now, maybe we'll have.
Is there like an average per household?
Yeah, and I know our contractor, we paid them $27,382 last year. And then we entered into a new contract this year, including recycle. Did it go up much more than that, or do you know?
I don't have those numbers.
I'll ask her at another time, thanks.
Yeah, we did requested proposals from people, and that was the lowest quote that we got by far. So I'll check into those.
Yeah, I'm just kind of
questions for
curious. I'll bug you again.
Okay.
Okay, The update on the construction treatment wetland. We have been given approval to go to the next phase of testing. Do you want to highlight that?
Sure. As you know, our funding approval right now runs out in March 2010, and by then we have to have the constructed treatment wetland finished. The stage that we've been approved for right now is called the pilot project, and it's doing 2 of the smaller cells and just trying to get an indication of being able to work on peat and what sort of constructability the peat allows for processing of waste, as well as berms, and whether you need an imported fill as well, and so that we'll get a lot of that information throughout the summer and into the fall, and then hopefully the rest of the constructed treatment wetland, the majority of it will be constructed for next year then, in the summer of 2009 for completion in March of 2010.
Wasn't it discussed though that they were maybe going to try and get moving this year on it, on the pilot project?
The pilot project,
Yeah.
that's the one that we're, yes, we just received approval to go ahead with that phase of it, so that's being tendered right now.
Okay. Development cost charges by item.
Just that the new bylaw has received third reading by council, and it has been sent to the province for approval. We understand the province is approving them fairly quickly these days, so we hope to have approval within a couple of weeks. And as soon as we have that bylaw in place, we can start to use some of the funds that we have prior to move ahead with some of our water and sewer upgrade projects, or at least studies to allow that to move ahead. So it'll release some of the funds that we've been accumulating, and plus it'll allow us to increase our development charges and start to collect the increased amount.
How come the DCCs that we've already collected can't be used yet?
Because the projects weren't included, the projects that we need
the
to,
list?
yeah, so we need the updated project list to be able to use the money towards those.
Okay. Regional growth strategy. We had our first meeting the other night at the Gilbert Center in Gordon, where the regional district has embarked on a regional growth strategy, hoping to get all municipalities involved in the board, all councillors. And to that end, on Wednesday night, we'll be having elected officials meeting at the regional district to bring all elected officials up to date. And I would urge all Cumberland elected officials to go, because it will impact you, and you need to be part of that process.
Is that a public meeting?
Not that'll be just for the elected officials.
Got a question on the regional growth strategy plan. A couple of things is, one is it come out at that meeting that there's going to be a separate sustainability one going on, and I'm just curious why we wouldn't be doing growth strategy and sustainability. They kind of go hand in hand, rather than having them go off like this, like a lot of the people that were there, which weren't just the people from Cumberland that were complaining about not being listened to, but it makes it sort of, like, to me, it should be going together. Like, if you're going to be sustainable, why would you plan growth that you don't know if it's going to be sustainable, and you do it at the same time, and not as two separate studies?
And the province has put those out as separate issues, and if that's something we can certainly bring as elected officials to them to say, we're going to be doing them parallel anyway. They are hand in hand. I agree with you.
But I mean, I couldn't imagine having to go to one meeting Tuesday on a regional growth strategy and Wednesday to talk with the same group of people on sustainability, or a few new people thrown in, you know, like it's sort of silly. And then the other thing that I couldn't figure out is, like, in the annual report, it said that we were going to be reviewing our OCP in 2009. Whereas the regional growth strategy has to be approved by 2010, and our OCP has to comply with the regional growth strategy. So why would we be looking at changing things? And
Well, all these things kind of came about the same time. Probably we can start the review of our OCP. It doesn't mean we'll complete it until we see what goes on with that.
except the OCP hasn't stopped being reviewed since this council came into being, because they've been reviewing it every time a developer asks.
Okay. Well, it'll be reviewed, and it'll go on being reviewed. It'll obviously, we might not complete a new OCP until we finish this regional growth strategy. That makes some sense.
Money-wise, it's part of it.
Absolutely.
And then with the regional growth strategy, from what I've understood from planners from other districts, is that when you have a regional growth strategy, if you're not already approved, then it becomes part of the regional growth strategy. So I'm just curious, because like the Bell Group and stuff, they've been like floating around really quickly for how quickly they've come into being in the village with first and second readings. And is that so that they don't have to comply with falling under the regional growth strategy?
No, it is not. Those are simple things that have come before council and council's dealt with as they see.
Well, they're not simple.
The process I'm talking about. It simply came to council, council's reacting in accordance with the information it has.
So,
There is no plot to work with the regional growth strategy.
so
It comes across that way.
major developers that want to add so many people to this valley, were they at the meeting the other night?
I couldn't say, to tell you the truth.
You mean the ones for Cumberland?
No, like Sage Hills and Kensington and
Not that I know, I
Raven.
don't know, they could have been sitting in
I
the
don't know
back
what
and
they
check
look
every
like.
face. I don't know.
because I just wondered, why are we paying for this? When you know, I'm all into conservation strategy, you know, with respect to the very good staff that are working on it, but political intent is a whole other ballgame in this valley. And to me, I think it's a big waste of money, because we don't know if those people can get water. We don't know if other developments are going to pass through the province. And so we're making a regional growth strategy for what?
Because Ida
Do
Chum
we know
said
if
we
they're
had.
coming? Are they coming? Are we making a one scenario regional growth strategy? Or what are we doing? Because to me, what I see in a lot of places, not necessarily here, sustainable means cash and green means golf courses. And that's about what it barrels down to in the end. And I don't think you need, you know, how much money is this going to cost? I don't think we need thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars, and our staff time to be plugged into a maybe scenario. So I'm kind of a wet blanket on it. I've been here long enough that I've seen Harry Harker's master plan with the growth nodules and all that. And where are they? Nobody knows where all those plans are. And the political intent can change like the wind. You know, a lot of people's efforts can go into planning. Maybe there's an overabundance of planning, and maybe just do it. You know, do the regional conservation strategy first. See what's left. Not all the stuff these guys have on the table and expect us all to swallow. Because all these, hundreds of thousands of former forest lands have been released. We're all supposed to, out of my pocket, we're all supposed to pay for regional growth strategy. You know, where's Ida Chong now? Where's her ministry?
Her ministry's there, she's not. We were mandated to do that. We can't not do it. And the province is paying for it, which I appreciate.
Still.
Are they paying our staff's wages?
We will be asking for some compensation. For
Are they paying for the stress and additional workload on our staff?
well, I don't think they have a...
Because, you know, it's all fine to mandate stuff when you're down in Victoria, but this is 2,800 people? STAR's regional growth strategy is Starland, expanded.
Carol, I think this is the first time that we've ever had the whole valley and all the jurisdiction reaching an agreement. I've been here 27 years and we've never done
But they
it.
haven't reached an agreement.
No, they're working towards it. They're working towards it. They all want to know that saying that somebody won't bowl. They're all saying that. Who's going to bowl? Which one of the jurisdictions out of the 4 are going to go, I don't want to do this? And they can't do that. They will be mandated to do that, and there will be negotiators brought in, and you have to be at the table. And it's the first time, truthfully, I was there at Valley Vision, all of that, right? That it really wasn't done like that with everybody in. So Courtney's really interested in what's going on. Comox is interested. Suddenly, it's the first time that all the staff are sitting down and looking at each other's projects and saying, how does this affect the whole valley? We've never done that. We've never sat down with the other staff.
I have no problem with staff.
Yeah,
I believe the staff.
I know.
I just don't believe the idea that we're supposed to make a plan for people that have iffy projects because they can't find water, and yet we're going to make a plan to include them, not include them. You know what?
Because like that Colin Barr's report that had so many typos in it. I mean, it says we should be figuring out from the developers where they want to develop. And whereas, to me, the sensible start is what do we want to save before we decide what it is that we want to change?
And we heard that comment the other night loud and clear. And I have no doubts it's going to be part of our discussion. Because that may very well be the best way to go. First circle what you want to do. Frankly, I'm positively excited about this regional strategy. I think it's a very good step in the right way. 2 years ago, it started when I asked the other two mayors to get together and talk about how we can work together. I thought it was a big step, but we really didn't get it. We didn't get all of our stuff together. And I think having it mandated was a very powerful tool to help us work together. And I find the enthusiasm amongst all of the Montreal politicians is very positive about this. That we do have to think as a valley. We can't go off having anything just wherever it will.
You can say that easily enough today, as each of the municipalities and regional districts is gladly going ahead and going off on their own track while they're hoping that they don't have to do anything because the regional growth strategy isn't going to start talking anymore until September. So it sort of comes across as, oh yes, we're all going to work together here as everybody's scurrying around to get everything through in their own municipalities before they actually have to talk as a group. That's what it comes across to the general public.
It's just called pedal faster.
Yeah.
So what do you think we should do about it?
Well, for one thing, I think the village should be like the regional district and that there's not going to be any meetings on that kind of stuff or to do with development throughout the summer months.
I was at the meeting and I recorded it.
That's what they said about the regional growth strategy, is that they weren't going to be having any more meetings to do with regional growth strategy with the people until September. So
There was a call at that first meeting, which I videoed and is on the Cumberland. You can see the whole meeting on the Cumberland. The comments that got the most applause of the whole evening was a call for a moratorium on development.
in the valley.
Calling for our political leaders here to pull together and be real. If you're going to go for vision for the whole valley, you got to put a stop on what's going on right now and get down to getting the vision, because that is primary. And I would support that 100%.
I'm sure you would, yes, I agree.
I mean, it was the year 2000, I think. I'm totally sure, when I just worked as a citizen on the Millard-Piercy watershed plan. And I learned a heck of a lot about that watershed, not knowing much about it. And we've been doing planning for environmental things in this valley for years. And you know, what is the vision for this valley? I'll tell you. Langley, Kelowna, all of it. That's the vision.
Whose vision is that?
Whose vision is that? I don't know, but that's the way every place turns out. Can anyone think of any place that has rapid urban development that turns out to be exceptionally different than anywhere else? I mean, maybe they have traveled more than I have, but I can't. Go down to the Lower Mainland, it all looks the same. You know, people come here for tourism. It's not saying no to urban development, but it's saying, hey, people come here for tourism. Are we going to mess up the tourism to have Langley, Lower Mainland type look to this valley that you can get a dime a dozen anywhere else? You know, what about the fishing? What about the water? What about a lot of the reasons that a lot of us have stayed here through sometimes very difficult years? You know, sure, we want construction, we want jobs, but there are a lot of other people that you know, they're looking at this place, and to me it looks like it's going to be a horrendous place to live with rising taxes. You know, everybody's coming in with their $400-something thousand homes. Who's going to afford those?
It's,
The only people that'll benefit will be the ones that don't want to live here and they sell. They sell and they make a lot of money. They won't be the people that stay.
there's some facts we have to deal with as a village, as a council. One fact is people can live wherever they want in Canada so far. People can increase their families. We've been told by economists, not by governments, the valley population is going to grow. So you can either manage it and make it the best you can, or you can just let it happen to you like this happened in so many of those communities you referred to. The other facts are people do say they would like to keep this town just as it is, never mind any further development, and we don't want our taxes to increase. Forgetting we have a $48 million deficit in infrastructure, regardless of development. Somebody has to do something to pay for that, to repair it. We won't stay as we are, we'll disappear into the ground. We know every week we're having rupture after rupture of our pipes. We're on the edge of not being able to manage finances because we can't keep up to the failing infrastructure. Nobody could. We have to do something with that. We have to try and manage that and still keep in mind that we want to keep this village lifestyle. I know the council's working very hard to try and do that. Will we all agree on everything? No, we won't.
But that's partly where, in our OCP, we had wanted to have the higher densification of stuff within the actual residential containment boundary, which was like saying that people are against a development that's going to bring senior housing here, and then saying everybody that's against that thing being so far out of town is against development, whereas we've got bare land here that's actually listed in our OCP as a place that is supposed to be for senior housing.
Yeah, I actually hadn't finished yet, but because one of the other comments was we don't want high-density housing in our neighborhood, but we want a good environment. Every environmentalist study that I've seen says the solution to the environment is high density, that we've got to reduce the footprint. So look at the mixed messages council gets. We all want our 1 acre lot in Fantasyland. Would be nice, I'm not knocking that. We all want to maintain this village lifestyle. We do not want anybody else to come here. But we want the water to flow, we want the sewers to work, we want the pipes to work. We want it all done without an increase in taxes. I mean, you can put some impossible tasks on any group of people.
But I think the people that have